All right, here with John Penland, today's third place finisher,
Third place.
and yesterday's 10th place finisher.
Yeah, 10th after the penalty.
Right. I've watched the video a couple of times. It appears as though you come flying off that rig, you see the finish line ahead, you run your little butt for it, and you think you come in second, and then what happens?
We finish the race, and we're in the finish area. Everyone leaves the finish area, and then about an hour before awards, Victor Cruzada comes up to me and tells me that I have a penalty and that I should go talk to Robert Coble.
And Robert says what to you?
So I talked to Robert, and he talks to me, and he shows me the pictures from the fire jump, and it was clear that my foot was on the outside of the obstacle, and that being a failure mode for the fire jump, resulting in a 10-minute penalty.
Did he mention who pointed out the photo in the first place?
He said that when after we crossed the line, there was radio chatter from the officials and staff that something had happened, and that they went back to the pictures to confirm what happened.
You took ownership of it. You posted very professionally, which I think is good on you. And I think you can still not be happy with it and or want changes to rules. So, it's been a day. You got a chance to redeem yourself somewhat, and I just want to know how you feel about all of it.
So it's disappointing for me. I was less than a second away from my first ever Spartan win. Hunter had a great race. Hunter Russell had a great race, chasing me down. He gained like 30 yards on me on the last gauntlet, which led us into that situation. And it's just heat of the moment, mental error that I didn't even realize I was doing. And I think the course setup led to the likelihood of that occurring. It increased the likelihood of it. And I think really it's for the media and Spartan to kind of collaborate on to fix and see what to do.
Well, it's interesting. Somebody posted that we were the ones to bring it to their attention, and someone corrected them right away. I am one of the proponents saying no one should be able to do it other than Spartan, and at the time being, if they are going to allow some up to an hour rule, it definitely should not be the media's camera, somebody's girlfriend's camera, somebody's dad's, whatever. If we try to look at this, their favorite thing to talk about is the Olympics. Well, in track and field, there's one guy responsible, or there's a team responsible for making all that happen. If the groundskeeper or the photographer or somebody else was like, hey, I kind of saw this, what do you think? It wouldn't matter, because they're not in charge of it. So this wide open sort of like crowdsourced refereeing is, to me, nonsense. Now, some people are saying, well, they're doing something and it's better than nothing, so it's going to take a while. I guess I believe that, because I think I'm one of the same people who's been screaming for years, why did you say that guy's not DQ'd? Oh, we'll fix it next time. So I think I'm just dude, for me, 7 years into this, it's really, really frustrating.
Yeah, I think we're still quite a distance away from the dream of the Olympics for obstacle course racing, and some things need to be tightened up. Just because if there's an Olympic caliber sport, there's not going to be questions about whether something happened or what to do. And I think this year a lot of discussions been going on, and I think that's good for the progression of the sport.
I mean, if Robert Coble saw it at the moment and goes, John, go back, you would have been like, and gone back, right? And you're second. And I think I might
have been a little frustrated, but I would have listened and
right. and,
coming
and
back
the
10
th-
seconds.
right, and the thing is, this argument keeps coming up. Well, they didn't have a ref at that obstacle, so there wasn't a ref on the truss to tell them. Apparently, now there's no ref at the finish. I think it's pretty clear that Robert or someone else needs to stand there at the finish and verify, because there's another thing that could happen. Let's say you did jump the fire, but obstructed him in the way. You kind of gave him a good shoulder to get over the fire, which we can talk about that in a second. And then would that have been called later? Or we've now seen a couple of good chases here in the last couple of races of men and women both going for it. What if there's some jockeying for position? Somebody's got to call that fair or foul. So I think that's kind of like the big obvious move for them to get a referee in the final pit area.
Yeah, I agree that on the site, because everyone I've met in the sport has a high level of integrity. And although it might be confusing in the moment, if you're told that, hey, you need to redo something or else something's going to happen, I think everyone would. And this is just another example, I feel.
All right, so now take me through it. I think a lot of people can't understand race pace, right? And I only know it from the few 5Ks I've done. And, it's been a long time since I went really hard for a couple hours. So, the mind, when people say, well, the racer should know better, and yes, the racer should be aware, and yes, it's the racer's responsibility not to get lost, but races got to do everything they can in their power so that at race pace, you don't have to think. So talk to me about coming off that rig. Do you even remember what you were thinking?
Yeah, so for the 2 miles before the finish, Hunter Russell and I were battling. We had a great battle with carries and a dozen obstacles. And we kept going back and forth. And when we reached the rig, I had maybe 3-4 seconds on him, or the monkey bars. And he hopped up, and he was going sideways. I was going forwards, and we both hit the bell approximately the same time. And it goes into a 90-degree corner, and we both, we're trying to take the inside lane, trying to get the shortest path to the finish because we're trying to round a corner. And we're just go as fast as you can. Hunter's next to you. We're shoulder and shoulder, track lean, try to get across the line first. And it's just all out, just competition. Whatever it took, like in whatever it took to push your body to try to beat the other guy.
Was the fire even in your blurry purview?
So we were both on the far right side of the fire, or far right side of the fire, and we were both inside, and it was like, okay, fire jump's coming up. We're on the edge. We got to jump, and I knew I was on the edge, thinking I cleared it on the side, but it's your eyes are straight ahead, just like Hunter's right there, just trying to keep up.
So the thought, I'm not jumping this fire, or my foot's hitting it, I'm good. What, as you passed it, can you remember what you were thinking?
I was thinking, okay, I'm driving the knee up, trying to reach over it, and just really is all focused on Hunter and just being side by side with him.
How difficult was it to get up for today's race?
Well, I had a lot of support from the community, and I like to race day too. It's pretty fun, and so I really wanted to get after it and kind of get on the podium, and because I was close, I was so close to the win yesterday, and just wanted really to kind of get a little bit of redemption and kind of start my 2019 season with a pretty good result.
And how did it go today?
Wasn't my day as much so as yesterday. Hunter had an absolute great race. I wasn't able to keep up with him today, and Victor Quezada had a very, very strong race as well. And it was a flat and very short course, with a large portion of which being a creek run, and that I just wasn't able to excel as well today as I was yesterday.
A lot of people don't know you. Can you talk a little bit? By the way, I do things in wacky order. Some people might have done this first. Tell people kind of what your highlights have been over the last couple of years, how you got, what made them put you on the pro team, and now, you're doing fairly well this year.
Yeah, so currently I'm the youngest member of the pro team. I'm 18 years old. I'm about 18 months younger than VJ.
Yes. All right. VJ, I'm kidding. VJ thinks I'm a VJ hater, so VJ, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I have. I had 3 podiums last year, all in the sprint distance, and then I really like the beast, and I finished 19th in Tahoe this last year, which was a very proud moment for myself, because I moved to Colorado for school, and it was really that was my big goal all of last year, and to get top 20, and I was able to pull it off. And then I've been racing more since 2016. I came from soccer, and I transitioned to OCR in 2016, and so this is my 3rd year, and I'm really hoping to get my first win and excel in the national series, especially in the mountains.
So if you get your first win, you'll beat VJ's record for youngest on the podium. Is that?
No, VJ's is, I believe, 16.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how did you do at Vermont last year for the NORAMs? How did you do?
NORAMs. So I raced the 3K, and I finished, I believe, like 20 something, like 29th or 27th. And going into the race, I had a little bit of an injury, so I didn't race the Sunday race, the Saturday race, the 15K. But I raced a team race with VJ and James Nair, and we had a really great race. We finished 3rd behind Jesse Bruce's team and Ryan Atkins' team, which was a really fun experience.
Well, were you team Young Guns or something like that?
Yeah, team Next Generation.
So, our sport definitely needs folks like you. I think for a while we all of us who've been around talk about new blood. It doesn't always have to be as young as you, but just people coming in, after even college, if they're not going to go, if they're not going to go professional or however you can run cross country or otherwise. So how did you even learn about, what age were you when you learned about obstacle racing?
So I first found out about obstacle course racing, the Spartan Race, on Christmas Day in 2015. It was on TV with the World Championships, the battle between Robert Killian and Cody Moat, and it looked fun. So my dad signed me up for a race, a local race, the Abominable Snow Race, and I did that and kind of got hooked. And so I did a Battle Frog, a Tough Mudder, and did my first Spartan race that summer. And I ran like the first race for Spartan. I ran like in the top 10 until we hit Hercoist. I tried to lean back with it, and I didn't even move it. So that was a long day of burpees, the first race. But that was the first time anything had like just crushed my body. Like I was so destroyed. I got in the car and fell asleep immediately. And I've been hooked ever since.
So are you in school right now?
Yeah, I'm a college student at Colorado State University.
And you live in Fort Collins, Colorado?
Correct.
Colorado is the University of Colorado is the Buffaloes. What's Colorado State?
The Rams.
And what are you majoring in?
International Studies with a minor in Spanish.
Okay. So what do you want to do, like job wise? I mean, you could of course become a really well paid obstacle racer in the next few years, but what do you, if you have to take a day job, what are you looking to try to do?
Yeah, most likely it's something with the government or some type of government contract work. Ideally something that is involved in Latin America. And really, I'm open, and I still have 3 years to kind of figure that out. So, yeah.
So have you been in Jacksonville and Alabama? I feel like I've seen you at both, maybe, right?
Yeah, I was at both.
All right. So what's your goal for the season, for the point series or otherwise?
Coming into the season, my goal was top 10 in the series, uh, which is a difficult goal. And I had some complications in both races, but I'm going to show up at Seattle and try to sneak in the top 15, maybe grab a top 10, and hopefully jump up a little bit in the rankings.
Well, let's talk a little bit about specialty. VJ's been around a little bit longer, and he was, he killed it in Alabama, and then said, "I'm not looking to be the best of the beast right now. I want to really focus on a few races, Spartans and Supers, and do really great there, and then build my way up," which is an interesting way to do it, right? What are your thoughts about that? What's your plan?
Personally, I prefer the longer distance. I love heavy carries, anything that kind of beats you up. So my main goals really for the year, like my big A races, are Big Bear, Tahoe, and European Championships, which is in the Dolomites. So really big mountain races. Training in Colorado is great for that, and I find the longer distance to be the most challenging and most interesting to go after.
Well, so let's see. You're 18 now.
18.
It's kind of crazy, dude. We just, again, like the sport, we just haven't seen a lot of young people. I mean, the person that I thought had VJ beaten was this kid Alec Blennis, who I've known since he was a kid, and he was doing great in the early days, but then he left, and people just don't stick around, I think, that long. And we need more youth. Are you talking to have you started a club? I know a lot of kids do that.
I didn't start a club, but I was the president of outdoor adventure club in my high school. And so like we went rock climbing, we'd go camping, go for hikes, and I got a bunch of my friends to kind of participate. But they aren't traditional endurance athletes. More baseball player, kind of like martial arts kind of kids. And so they're more age group so a lot of people my age, they'll show up, they'll race age group, and they'll do like 1 or 2 races a year, and then kind of but because obstacle course racing is an expensive sport, and it helps to earn a little bit of that money back with podiums and sponsors.
Do you have some sponsors you want to shout out?
Yeah, I do. I'm partnered with EndurElite, and which I just love. It's great. I just something about it really switches on my mind to get ready for race mode. And FitLink Media.
Have you been chatting with old man Woodsy, who's old enough to be your dad?
Yeah, I know Woods.
No, but I know that he's big on the EndurElite, and I asked him off the record too. I was like, "All right, look, it's just me and you now. Tell me," and he's like, he loves it. So I'm saying, like, yeah. Do you have you befriended some of these older athletes? You said you're a big fan of Killian's.
Yeah. So, granted, being younger, like, there's only 5 guys who are under 25, really. Like top level guys under the age of 25. So most of my friends in OCR are almost twice my age. So it's kind of funny.
Have they given you any tips?
Yeah, just a lot of stuff on the recovery end. Like coming into the sport, I had no running background, so I kind of just more running is better. So a lot of recovery tips, kind of like periodization, but more so like focusing on how to get faster, get stronger at obstacles. Especially when I started racing, I really struggled with obstacles. The running was my strong suit, and I'd fail like multi-rig. So really like having some guidance on how to like approach different things, different mentalities, to like race hard, and just like have an older, more experienced mentality just kind of guide me through. And I have so many friends in OCR that really help me with that.
Cool. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on short notice. What do you think the lesson is if you're going to take away, maybe it's multiple lessons from yesterday? What do you think those are?
So Spartan's definitely cracking down on rules this year, and so little things you might not even notice in the moment. You got to be careful of. And moving forward with the sport, there's going to be changes, and we don't know exactly where everything's going to go. But I'm really just looking forward to seeing where obstacle course racing gets in the next couple of years and continue to compete with it.
What about you personally though? Like what lessons are you taking away from yesterday as an athlete,
Um,
as a racer?
you know, I like racing, and coming away from this, it happened, and there's nothing I can really change about it. So I'm just gonna move forward and put my soul into the next race. So
All right. And by the way, is it Penland? We've all been saying, I assume that's how you pronounce it.
Penland, yeah,
Penland,
yeah,
not Penland,
Penland, yeah.
which is what? What is that? Swedish? What is that?
It's Scottish.
Totally get.
There's a region in Scotland called Pentland, and it's the English Americanized version of it.
All right. So I'm going to see you in Seattle in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, dude. Safe travels, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, man.